Ready to unlock like new levels of understanding and expression? You've come to the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the world of words.
Love it.
We're going to be exploring a fascinating text called English Vocabulary, Expanding Your World of Words.
Sounds good.
And it's not just about memorizing definitions.
Right.
It's about truly understanding and using the power of language.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating about this text is that it emphasizes like the real world impact of vocabulary. You know, it goes beyond just like the obvious benefits of clear communication, but it highlights how a rich vocabulary is like essential for accessing knowledge.
Oh, wow.
And expressing yourself powerfully.
Okay, so how does that play out in your field?
Oh, absolutely so. Yeah. Let's say I'm explaining a complex marketing strategy to a client, right? Right. If I just say, we need to boost engagement, it's vague, you know, it's unhelpful. Yeah. But if I use specific terms, like conversion rate optimization or target audience segmentation,
I see.
Suddenly we're having a much more productive conversation. The right words unlock a deeper level of understanding.
So essentially you're saying that the words that we use actually determine the outcome of a conversation.
Absolutely.
So how do we go about unlocking these new words? Reading is the obvious answer. Yeah. But the text really seems to emphasize active learning techniques.
Oh, yeah. Active learning is key. You know, reading is crucial.
Okay.
But it's passive.
Okay.
To truly integrate new words into your vocabulary.
Yeah.
You need to engage with them actively.
Okay, so give me some examples of active learning.
Oh, absolutely so. Taking notes, you know, and digging into the dictionaries and thesauruses, and even using, you know, language learning apps or online games. Yeah. It's about turning learning into an interactive experience.
I totally get that. But I've always struggled with, like, note-taking. It just feels tedious, and I forget what I've written.
Right.
Any tips for making note-taking more engaging?
Absolutely. I think, you know, one thing that's really helpful is to go beyond just writing definitions.
Okay.
Try sketching out mind maps.
Oh, wow.
Creating visual associations. Or even writing silly sentences using the new word.
Okay.
The more you engage different parts of your brain, the more likely you are to remember the word and its nuances.
So make those words your own.
Absolutely.
We've talked about the benefits and ways to unlock new words.
Yeah.
But how do we ensure that those words become part of our everyday vocabulary?
Right.
The source mentions some really interesting retention strategies.
Yeah.
Active recall. Chunking repetition.
Repetition is key. You know, the text highlights active recall.
Okay.
Things like quizzing yourself or using flashcards as like a highly effective method.
Okay.
It forces you to retrieve information from your memory, which strengthens the neural pathways.
Gotcha. So it's like building a mental muscle.
Exactly.
The more you use those words, the stronger your memory becomes.
Yes. And then there's chunking. Breaking down large lists into smaller, more manageable groups, and then repetition.
Right.
Revisiting those words over time.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I was learning Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
I challenged myself to use one new word every day. And one time I tried to tell a taxi driver that I was embarazada, which means pregnant, instead of avergonzada, which means embarrassed.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's just say it led to a very awkward ride.
Wow.
But I never forgot that word.
Exactly. Sometimes the most memorable learning experiences come from those oops moments.
I think so.
You know, don't underestimate the power of laughter in language learning.
That's true.
And speaking of making it personal, the source mentions keeping a vocabulary log.
That's a technique I haven't tried before. How would that work in practice?
It's simple but effective.
Okay.
You just jot down new words that you encounter, along with their definitions, example sentences, and even personal reflections on how you might use them.
So it's like creating your own personalized dictionary.
Absolutely.
Moving beyond simply knowing a word to actually mastering its nuances, that feels like the next level.
It is. You know, the text delves into the importance of understanding synonyms, exploring shades of meaning, and distinguishing between similar words.
Okay.
For instance, happy and joyful both convey positive emotions, but joyful suggests a deeper, more lasting sense of contentment, like understanding the subtle differences between colors.
That's a good analogy.
You know, you might say something is blue, but is it cerulean or azure or cobalt?
Right.
Each shade evokes a slightly different feeling.
I love that. And then there's figurative language.
Yes.
Idioms, metaphors, similes. These add such richness and depth
They do.
to our communication.
Absolutely.
For instance, the idiom kick the bucket.
Right.
It doesn't literally mean kicking a bucket. It's a way of saying someone has died.
Right. Figurative language allows us to go beyond literal meanings and evoke emotions, create imagery, and add layers of meaning to our communication.
And then, of course, we can't forget about the cultural context of language.
Oh, absolutely.
This whole idea of the world of words that the text emphasizes really resonates with me. It's about connecting language to the bigger picture, right?
It is, the text underscores how vocabulary is a key to understanding different cultures, a tool for creativity, and ultimately a source of joy.
I love that.
Learning a new word can open up a whole new way of seeing the world.
So true.
For example, discovering the word sonder.
Okay.
The realization that each passerby has a life as vivid and complex as your own.
Wow.
Maybe more aware of the interconnectedness of humanity.
That's beautiful. It reminds me of when I first learned the word epiphany.
Yeah.
It suddenly gave me a name for those moments of sudden insight and clarity. Words have the power to shape our understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with this question. What kind of world do you want to create with your work?
That is such a powerful thought.
Yeah.
As we've discussed today, expanding your vocabulary is an ongoing journey, not a destination.
Right.
It's about actively engaging with words, making them your own, and using them to communicate more effectively, understand the world more deeply, and express yourself more authentically.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to experiment. Make mistakes. And have fun with it. The more you play with language, the more powerful it becomes.
Expert.